Leone, the British High Commission's MOVE programme supports and connects grassroots voices through grant funding, supporting women's rights organisations to learn from and coordinate with one another. We have learned that when women and girls lead advocacy and combine efforts, communities and attitudes can transform. 16 days is an opportunity for governments to create and enforce laws and invest in education and prevention, for organisations and partners to support civil society, amplifying voices, experiences and driving change. And for all of us as leaders and individuals to challenge harmful norms that enable cultures of violence. Ending gender-based violence is not a niche issue. It is a human rights imperative at the heart of families, of industries and of communities. Equality and women's freedoms benefit us all. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today. The UK will continue to work in partnership with you all for a future where every woman and girl lives free from fear and full of hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and for your continued support and friendship to the government and people of Sierra Leone. I now call on another critical partner of Sierra Leone, dedicated friendship, and also, I think, over the years, really committed to advancing gender equality in our country. His Excellency, the head of delegation of the European Union in Sierra Leone, is our friend, Ambassador Jacek Jankowski. Please come forward.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. As I'm double-headed, the European Union Ambassador, but also Chief IFO of Kono District, my time is doubled, so I have 6 minutes slot. Dr. David Moinina Senge, the youngest Chief Minister, Dr. Aizata Mahoy, the most passionate Minister of Gender and Children Affairs, ladies and gentlemen, especially ladies, thank you for the invitation to attend the launch of the 16 Days of Activism 2025 against gender-based violence. It's for me a real privilege to stand here united in this critical cause. This year's theme, Digital Violence Against Women and Girls, is a reminder to all of us that violence is tragically evolving instead of receding. The data from Sierra Leone is alarmingly clear. Violence against women and girls remains pervasive, rooted in patriarchal norms. The 2019 DHS data is unambiguous. Nearly 2 in every 3 women have experienced physical violence in their lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1991, the 16 Days campaign has proven its relevance by constantly tackling all forms of violence, from domestic abuse and sexual harassment to the extreme act of femicide. Today, we confront the digital world, the rapid advance of technology, intended for empowerment, has become a new frontier of abuse. The European Union is fully committed to fighting all forms of violence against women and girls. Through the European Union UN Spotlight Initiative, jointly implemented with the UN and Rainbow Initiative, and supported by the government, we recognize the need of a multi-sector action because violence exists in every sector. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I take this occasion to congratulate the government and the Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs in particular for integrating important provisions for women's rights into national law in line with international conventions. I must, however, express our disappointment that a crucial human rights violation like female genital mutilation, FGM, was not addressed in the revised Child Rights Act, which was passed last month. I encourage to continue to push for comprehensive protection for all women and girls. And as I say these words, I'm looking especially towards the Chief Minister and the Minister of Justice. Gentlemen, we are counting on your support in addressing the FGM issue. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, violence is not only countered by law, but also by creativity and collective voice. Therefore, as a part of our engagement, the European Union, in collaboration with the Balanta Academy, has organized a music competition focused entirely on the theme of gender-based violence. I am delighted to announce that the grand final will take place on December 12th at the Freetown City Council Auditorium. This competition is proof that the violence can and must be tackled through the transformative power of art and community expression. And I strongly count on your presence with us on these days. Please stick your agendas. Ladies and gentlemen, when we empower women to live freely, safely, and without the constant threat of violence, we are not just upholding human rights. We are building stronger, more equitable societies for everyone. The time to act is now. Let's stand united to end gender-based violence. Plenty thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Jankowski. And thank you for your passionate commitment and for reminding us of the things that matter. I think I shall say that President Bio's position is clear and consistent, and we will continue to make sure that we continue on the path of progress that the government of Sierra Leone is on. I now have the pleasure of inviting somebody I call my brother, who is a friend of Sierra Leone, who is a youth man as well. He's a friend of the youth of Sierra Leone and a he for she champion, the UNDP resident representative in Sierra Leone. Please let's welcome Mr. Frederick Ambia to the stage to deliver his own brief remarks. Put your hands together one more time as he comes to the stage.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for this occasion. Good morning. Good morning. Uma, you there, yeah? You there, yeah? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. Chair, kindly permit me to stand on existing protocols in the essence of time. I'm here to deliver a short statement on behalf of the UN team in Sierra Leone. And it's because today, as we gather here under the banner of the 16 days of activism, we all know that we confront a new frontier in the fight for gender equality. One that is indivisible, that is borderless, and is growing at an alarming pace. Digital violence against women and girls. As the world goes digital, we spend most of our lives online. However, the advantage of digital empowerment is being confirmed by the challenges of digital abuse. These issues range from cyber stalking and image-based sexual abuse, online harassment, doxing, and discrimination. The digital space has become a new domain where gender-based violence persists and thrives. And we've heard many harrowing stories this morning from earlier speakers. The statistics are also very glaring. According to the UN Women Global study, 1 in 3 women experience physical and sexual violence in their lifetime. A figure now that extends into the digital realm, which is quite disturbing. And that is why this year's theme on International Year for the Elimination of Digital Violence Against Women and Girls is out, emphasizing the need for us and the recognition for us to act urgently on this emerging menace. Digital violence is not confined to one country or culture. It affects women across all regions, especially those in public life. Journalists, activists, and our politicians, especially our women politicians, who attest to this. They are disproportionately targeted. A 2023 global survey found that 73% of women have been exposed to or experienced online violence, and 90% said it had negative impact on their well-being, their sociological and psychological well-being. Today, earlier, we have heard some stories from our cybersecurity coordinator, and we know that we'll have the opportunity also to hear how it has impacted lives of some women and girls, and we thank the Minister for Gender and Children's Affairs for giving us this platform to hear some of these stories. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is worthy of note that digital violence is not just virtual. It is real. It silences voices, deflates confidence levels, and drives women and girls out of the digital space. These spaces should be safe, inclusive, and empowering. It is a direct threat to democracy, to development, and human rights. But we are not powerless. We have to act now. And I'm pleased to hear some of the interventions that have been put in place from the Coordinator's Office, the Inspector General of Police, and others. While we must act on multiple fronts, and a couple of things we want to say. One, in terms of policy and regulatory frameworks, government must continue to enact and enforce laws that criminalize digital abuse and protect women and girls. Two, we should have technology and accountability, whereas mobile companies and private sector must be held responsible and accountable for the safety of their platforms. Transparency, content moderation, and survivor-centered reporting mechanisms are non-negotiable. Three, it's imperative for us to have a robust education and digital literacy, to equip girls and women with the tools to navigate digital spaces safely and assertively, while we also educate our boys and men to challenge online hate speech against women and girls. Finally, we need to enhance our data research capabilities, and I'm happy that the Cyber Security Coordinator's Office is doing so much around that. Data protection, the right to access information, draft law, we are going to commit ourselves to support government to make sure it comes into fruition. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the 16 days of activism is a clarion call for us all. Development partners, UN agencies, government, private sector, civil society organizations, the youth, and the media. It's all a collective responsibility, whole of society, whole of government approach. As the United Nations, we reaffirm our dedication to building a world where every woman and girl can live free from fear, both on and offline. Let us build a digital future that is safe, that is inclusive, and just, not only for our women and girls of today, but build a future for generations unborn. Thank you very much for your attention.
Mr. Ampia is a very youthful man. He has a lot of experience as well. So it's a very good combination to have lived long and still be youthful. Thank you very much, Fred, for what you do for Sierra Leone, and particularly for the youth sector and for advancing women's empowerment. Friends, we will now come to statements from home. We have been listening to our development partners for a bit. I should pass on the regrets and apologies of my colleague, my twin in government, the Minister of Communication, Technology and Innovation, Minister Salim Abba, who unfortunately could not make it to this event. She expresses her apologies to you all. But that gives us the opportunity to call our country's chief legal advisor, my friend, my comrade, the learned, distinguished, global, respected legal scholar, the country's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the man with exceptional swag and a solid and sound legal mind, Honorable Alpha Sise Esquire. Let's welcome him, please.
Thank you. We are at not 43 minutes. I will have responded to those very kind comments by my brother. But Mr. Chairman, Chief Minister, colleague ministers, as others have said before me, ladies and gentlemen, kindly allow me to stand on existing protocols. Good afternoon. Today, we launched the 16 Days of Activism and the National Cybersecurity and Awareness Campaign. And we do so whilst standing at the crucial intersection, the intersection between gender, technology, and justice. In recent times, we have seen gender-based violence evolve. It has expanded beyond physical spaces. And girls now follows them onto their phones, into their inboxes, onto social media, and into every digital corner of their lives. Digital violence is real violence, and its wounds are deep, its reach wide, and its impact lasting. We have, as a government, taken important steps by enacting important legislation, including the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act of 2021, creating a clear legal framework that defines and criminalizes cyber offenses such as online harassment, identity theft, cyber stalking, non-consensual sharing of images, unauthorized access, impersonation, and digital threats. This legislation significantly creates avenue to protect vulnerable groups, especially women and girls who are disproportionately targeted in digital spaces. The establishment of the National Cybersecurity Coordination Center strengthens this framework, and in concord with the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, provides a structured national response for prevention, detection, investigation, and reporting of cyber-related crimes. The Office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice continues to work closely with the Sierra Leone Police, especially the cyber unit, to ensure that complaints are taken seriously, that evidence is properly preserved, and that perpetrators are held accountable. I must emphasize, however, that legislation and institutions alone are not enough. To truly end gender-based violence, especially digital violence, our digital behavior, our community norms, and our collective consciousness must evolve as well. Technology must become a tool for empowerment, not a weapon used to shame, to silence, or to destroy lives. We must teach our daughters how to protect their digital footprints, and teach our sons how to respect digital boundaries. We must demand responsible online conduct from everyone. We must support survivors, not blame them. and we must collaboratively continue to strengthen our ability to respond, to prevent, to prosecute, and to protect in equal measure. As we reflect during these 16 days of activism, I invite us all to unite, not just by talk or by action. Not just by talk, but by action and by commitment. And when I say so for all of us: government, civil society, families, communities, digital platforms, law enforcement, educators, and everyday citizens. Let us build a Sierra Leone where everyone, especially women and girls, are safe, both offline and online. Not only for 16 days, but for all 365 days of the year. Thank you very much.
Well, say not to soya binde. Mango say I just want to talk no more. But I mean, we get an Attorney General, a Minister of Justice, who for him this is also not, his commitment to these issues is not because he's in this position. He has spent a lifetime working to advance human rights and justice and accountability for all. In Sierra Leone, from since he was a young man, and I was privileged to have been mentored by him. We traveled across this country working to promote truth, reconciliation, and peace. And our lives and career, he's been fighting and working hard to make improvements. I feel good that he's in this position, especially when we're in a room like this, because again, I know when he speaks, I take his words for granted. Thank you, Honorable Attorney General. Let's put our hands together for him one more time. Friends, we have come to the high points of now that's too loud. We have come to the absolute high points of today's event, and we'll pause to listen to the keynote address. Permits me to introduce a man who requires no introduction. The country's first ever Chief Innovation Officer, the country's youngest ever Chief Minister, the country's architect and implementer of Sierra Leone's, in my opinion at least, most important socio-economic reform, that is the free quality school education program, an author of the award-winning and best-selling Radical Inclusion book, and it's now become a movement for which he is a proud champion and leader. He combines in his resume IBM, Harvard, MIT, TED, etc., etc. Most people don't know this, but he's a published artist. He's a rapper. See, the young people, they were saying a rapper no more now. He's got game. He's got a lot of game. He's a designer as well. And for those of us who will be attending the One Reggae Festival today, I should also add that he's a Rasta. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's welcome our outstanding Chief Minister, Dr. David Moinina Sengbe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Chairman and Minister of Information and Civic Education, the Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs, our host, all of the ministers of government who are here, members of parliament, our paramount chiefs, the UN resident coordinator, representative, Fred, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, the Inspector General of Police, the National Cyber Security Coordinator, the women and girls of Sierra Leone, the male allies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today is special for me because of the two hats that I wear. If you had to summarize what I do in this country, you can summarize it into today's activity. First, I'm Chief Minister, and as Chief Minister, my job is to coordinate across government. And you can see that being very evident here today from the IG of Gender and our development partners. And second, my job is also Chief Innovation Officer. And in that capacity, my task is to ensure that our country can have a strategy for using technology, innovation, and digitization to move our national development plan forward. So on a day when I was asked to launch two things, to launch the 16 days activism and the Cyber Security Awareness Week, I will absolutely be nowhere else but in this room. So I want to thank the Ministry of Gender and the entire organizers for ensuring that I will be here doing precisely what His Excellency and the people of Sierra Leone expect of me to be doing, a mix between a tech bro and a feminist. You know, it is really important for us to have heard all these commitments, all these facts, all these numbers. And as I sat there and listened to the calls of action, we must understand that behind every one of those numbers, behind every one of those stories are humans, our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters. They are not strangers. They are not people who are statistics that we record. The reason why His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio takes these so importantly, as he's recounted many times, he was raised by his mother. And we know that there is no nation that can transform without prioritizing and elevating its women and girls. In the past decade, we have also seen that technology has profoundly transformed how we connect, how we learn, how we work, and how we do business. For many women and girls in Sierra Leone, the digital space has opened up lots of opportunities for them. It has connected them in ways that they would have never been able to be seen or heard, and it's given them business opportunities for them to grow. And at the same time, it has presented risks and challenges to them that they will not, and many of our policymakers would not have imagined. Their privacy has been violated. We have seen men